Hey guys, welcome back to Casual Cognition. Today I thought I would go way back to my INFP Corner series. I realized that when I posted the happy hour video that it's been like 9 months since I posted my previous one, and it's been the same with the INFP Corner. So I was like, how to develop your TE, how to develop your SE, and then like gone from the face of the earth. I didn't really come back and do the other kind of functions, but today I thought I would do NE. So skip SI, go straight to NE. And this might be kind of surprising because you might be like, we are FI and E types, like why do we have to develop NE? We're naturally good at NE. And it's true that we are naturally good at NE, but developing NE is actually crucial to the life, health, and happiness of the INFPs and the INTPs. So, oh yeah, I should have said this at the beginning. If you're an INTP, you will probably also benefit from this video. So the thing with our auxiliary function is that I think that we're naturally quite good at the auxiliary function. However, the more people get older, the more they get lazier, the more they develop their tertiary function, even just a little bit, suddenly the tertiary function seems so much more just enjoyable if you want to laze around, or if you don't want to fight your body, you just want to go with the natural flow of things. It's very easy to like laze into that tertiary function and kind of neglect the auxiliary function. So with our NEs, I feel like INFPs are very good at NE. However, as they age, they start lazing into that SI. So what I mean by this is we can actually become very comfortable with feeling the same emotions over and over again and doing the same kind of things, especially in our downtime. Like in our spare time, you might have noticed, by the way, that you try to like make a healthy routine or a day routine and you can't stick to it. However, whenever you're relaxing or have some spare time, you tend to like gravitate towards the same thing. I've found that is true for me as I get older, and I've talked to a couple of other people with tertiary SI, and this seems to be true. Like as soon as we get an ounce of spare time, it's like, okay, off to do the same thing over and over again. And how I know that my NE is actually strong is because when we were younger, in school, they do brainstorming exercises and they do creative writing exercises in English or language arts. And I was always like extremely good at coming up with a bunch of different story ideas in my head. However, I realized where I differ a lot from my ENFP sisters is that they will come up with all of these different ways to view life, all these storylines, and then they will realize, okay, this also applies to me. Like I can live any one of these storylines. But then for me, I realized that as soon as I write the creative writing story, as soon as I brainstorm, I like kind of shut the NE off. So a lot of times when I go through a difficult life experience, something really sad is happening, I kind of flip between the FI and SI, thinking, okay, this is sad. This was sad in the past. Why wasn't my past different? The past is sad. And it just goes on and on. And yeah, so I hope that that's relatable to some of you. I feel like that's a very relatable thing that INFPs and also ISTJs deal with. But of course, if you're an ISTJ, you use TE to get out of it, but an INFP generally will use NE to get out of it. Sometimes I feel like we are very gravitating towards our inferior functions. So the INFP, we might think that like, oh my god, I just need to become good at TE and then I will not be like sad anymore. But actually, I feel like that's misguided, and the best way to get out of it is NE. You will be able to look at the situation in multiple perspectives and thus get out of it. So I think that basically the solution is that we must always force ourselves to do these creative writing exercises but apply it to our own lives. Well, another thing that I realized is that after I graduated and no one's prodding me to do these brainstorming exercises, my NE kind of got lazy. I still think that it's quite good, but I don't think that it's as good as it was when I was younger for some reason. Like, yeah, I don't really go through life thinking, okay, here's like 20 possibilities. I mean, it still comes up into my mind as an uncertainty of how the future will unfold, but I don't push myself to the weirder limits, I guess. Probably one of the best things that I could do, which I guess I'll try to start doing it, is that occasionally, maybe like once a week, maybe once a month, just be like, okay, what is my life like? Even like 3 years ago, I feel like I was doing this more often, but it's just like, how is my life? How could my life be? Here's like 30 ways that my life could be instead of what it is right now, and then you can try to like go and do it. So I think for the INFPs and E, it's a creative sort of perceiving, but it's also a greedy kind of perceiving where you just want to see how the world can be conceptualized, and sometimes you want to see how other people conceptualize the world. This is why a lot of INFPs are quite interested in philosophy or psychology and, you know, reading, but sometimes they will also try to expand into their lives. Like maybe if you read about psychology and then you think, well, maybe I can be a psychologist, or if you read about travel, then you think maybe I can also travel and see how other people in other parts of the world think. Yeah, I think those are like the most healthy things that INFPs can do, and I have also personally done a lot of traveling in my youth, and that was, you know, very fortunate of me, and I feel like that has really informed my SI, and my SI and E can have like kind of a healthy relationship, because now I have all of those diverse SI memories to go off of that my NE can like springboard from. So I feel like it is quite important to try new things. And now I feel like I'm not trying new things, because when I have spare time, I tend to gravitate towards doing the same darn thing over and over again, you know, for months at a time. Whereas my boyfriend, he is an ESTJ, and, you know, with a tertiary NE, I feel like he's always doing something different in his spare time. Like even something as simple as a computer game. Like if I get into a game, that will just be my game for like the next 6 months. But then he might even play 4 different games in one night, for example. But I just, yeah. So I feel like when I was younger, I was more keen to try those things. Like if someone was like, do you want to try this thing? I'll be like, yeah. But now I'm kind of very, yeah, like I said, very ease into that SI. It's very comforting. So I feel like, you know, once in a while I have to push myself towards saying yes to invites, saying yes to like external experiences, because, you know, even if you're not that keen towards the sensory aspects of that experience, you will probably have some sort of experience that's new to your SI that will shake up your introverted perception, and then thus you will become more creative with your extroverted perception output. Yeah, that's about it. I guess I should do some like practical advice. I feel like films that have multiple interpretations are quite good. Yeah, I've been lazing into watching like the same type of shows and movies all the time, but yeah, those experimental movies where you don't really know what's going on, those can be quite helpful for developing the NE. So multiple interpretation artworks, movies or books, and creative writing exercises, travel, or you know, if travel is not a good option in your life right now, maybe just reading about travel. Read new things. I don't know, sometimes I just fall into reading or consuming the same type of things, but just like if you're always reading self-help books, read a fiction book. If you're always reading fiction books, read a self-help book. You know, just try new things. I don't know if you guys agree with me, or if you're, you know, older or younger than me, you might have a totally different experience. But the general trend I'm finding is that, yeah, the more I get older, the more that SI is just like tugging me to the same thing, and my NE wants to be my NE wants to break free. Apply brainstorming things to your life. Treat your life as if it was a story. If you have a conflict, think about, okay, if my friend has this conflict, or if this was a storybook conflict, how do I think the author will end this conflict? How do I think the author will solve it? Or how would I advise my friend to solve it? I feel like with the FI, maybe with TI as well, but I feel like mostly with FI, you're so emotionally attached to it that you can only your emotions themselves are gonna pull up a bunch of SI crap. And then the SI crap is gonna be like pulling in a bunch of FI stuff, and then the FI and SI are just like past, sad, sad, past. So you need your NE to just see it as a neutral experience that has nothing to do with you personally. So then you can really detach that FI and SI. And then once you brainstorm, you can reactivate your FI and SI and look to see if you've come up with any solutions. I know this is very much like easier said than done, and I'm definitely not really doing this right now, but I'm trying to do it, and I feel like every time I try to do it, life gets just a little bit better, so I thought that I would share that with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy these videos, I do have a Patreon account. Every bit of support on there helps me a lot, even, just morale-wise, or especially morale-wise, it helps me so much. Plus, you can join our Discord by joining the Patreon, and I'm quite active on there, probably a bit overactive, because I really enjoy chatting with you guys about MBTI, psychology, and all that good stuff. I will see you next time.